Whispering winds have little effect on a raging fire. Those who resist the universe are just removed. They are not in dispute. When your opponents realize they are losing, they will shout the most loudly. They are desperate, not powerful. This is why they scratch, claw, and hurl everything at you. They want to destroy you because it's the only way they know to fight. The reality is, they never fought with you. Nobody governs the cosmos, and they were opposing the power that picked you. Please take a moment to like and subscribe before we go. Our army becomes larger. The more picked ones go to this level. You notify the system that this message must be sent every time you participate. This is how we get together. We rise in this way. Let's get started. The world is afraid of the selected because of what they cannot control, not due to what they observe. Being chosen turns you into an unpredictable and uncontrollable force, a disturbance and an abnormality. When you go into a room, the air in it shifts. When people realize you exist, their illusions begin to crumble. They attack for this reason. They whisper for this reason. They believe that putting you through enough stress, strife, and uncertainty will lead you to dissolve. However, a selected one is unbreakable. In reality, you were created to withstand adversity and succeed where others failed, and wield unstoppable strength. Yet here you are, doubting your own talent. In the darkness, you wondered whether you'd made a mistake or if being normal was always your fate. You dare. What is the status of the universe? You? How can you doubt it? When all of the universe's powers work for you, how dare you act as if you have been abandoned? Your opponents are battling not just you, but also the force that brought you into the world when you were chosen. They lost the fight. They want you to participate in their games, answer questions, and spend time proving yourself. However, the most powerful warrior does not fight in combat and has already won battles. You don't interact with people below you. Those that do not matter do not react to you. Their shouts will be drowned by your quiet. They cannot stop you. As a consequence, your very existence will be their worst nightmare. You cannot be shaken by them. Furthermore, they are unable to change what the cosmos has determined. Whatever they do, there is no reason to resist them. All you have to do is completely accept who you are. When you see how they vanish, you'll notice that they can't coexist with someone stronger. Not because you've chased them off. When genuine strength is there, the weak will undoubtedly fail. Thus, stand up straight in your back and let them to observe, whisper, and plot. As soon as you comprehend the power, it doesn't matter. They've already fled. This message is a signal to you, the one destined to fly, the one who was not anticipated to fit in. If you feel a shift or see flames, you're just where you should be. If you want to permanently quiet all of your enemies, hit the like button. Please subscribe and comment. At number, the attraction to your power becomes stronger the longer you remain. Let us now begin. You will eventually comprehend if you were picked for a purpose. You will not be able to turn away. First and foremost, a monarch enables the throne to speak and never debates with idiots. They screamed and hurled everything at you, including diversions, doubts, and falsehoods, in the hopes that something would stick and shake you. But they missed the instant you didn't respond. In terms of power, presence outperforms loudness. There is no need for the ocean to warn of impending storms. A wildfire consumes everything in its path without requesting permission. Furthermore, when the world works in your favor, it does not need to explain itself. They never engaged in combat with you. They were battling the system, and the system always prevails. They behave as if they despise and find you disagreeable. Let's face it, people are afraid of you because of who you are, not for what you've done. Because they can perceive the difference in energy and weight of something bigger. They were intrigued by the fact that you represented something they could never be. Have you ever pondered why their attacks seem so personal? Why are they keeping a tight eye on you? Why are they so determined to undermine you when they know they can't reach you? Your achievement, not your failure, is their greatest dread. It hurts them to watch you walk silently, unaffected and untouchable, since they want to be seen, heard, and validated in all they do. However, there is no need for a large audience. Approval is unnecessary. The fact that you exist undermines their whole universe. An idiot believes they can leap over a precipice and miraculously avoid falling, defying gravity. Your enemies believe they could conspire, persuade, and obstruct you without repercussions. However, the universe maintains a perfect score. They weren't simply playing pranks on you. They were also threatening the system's stability. Everything is coming back together. Have you observed their current struggles? How are their own plans falling through? How did they get caught in the traps they set for you? That's correction, not karma. Retaliation is unnecessary in the cosmos. It just puts everything back in order. And this order means that everything based on lies will fall apart. Truth-based construction will prevail. You do not need to seek justice because of this. Justice has already begun. They want to know what happens next. They want you to get outraged. However, you cannot be read. You are the shadow that glides quietly. A sudden and unexpected thunderstorm. A lion does not provide warning before striking or crashing. A tsunami doesn't bargain. Furthermore, a real chosen one does not waste time defending, demonstrating, or explaining what is killing them. Rather, they just go on. You refuse to fight a war that has been won, despite their best attempts to pull you into it. Instead, you left, and your absence annoys them the most. Are you interested in the most effective form of retaliation? Quiet achievement. Seeing them destroy themselves while you thrive. Because, in fact, they were never your competition. They never had the same level of skill. A diamond does not beg for attention. A storm may alter landscapes without permission. How about you? You do not have to justify your invincibility. Consider how far you've come. Despite all the deceptions, traps, and betrayals you've encountered, you survived when you shouldn't have. You are the most dangerous player in the game. Just because of that, your adversaries have run out of strategies. You're just getting started in the meanwhile. Second, the sun just shines. It makes no apologies for stinging. You are under no obligation to take any action. You do not need to speak. They will be surprised just by your presence. They notice it before you say anything. The atmosphere altered. They hate tightening up. They resented the idea that you were carrying something strange and inaccessible to them. Even if you don't try, folks are uncomfortable simply being around you. They didn't want to look in the mirror. That's you. You have shown all that they claim to be. You point out their inadequacies, and they attack you instead of improving themselves or addressing their own shortcomings. Why? Because it's simpler to despise the sun than to realize that you'll never be as brilliant when you're not there. They speak about you. They make fun of you. Try to misrepresent and minimize yourself. However, do you really get the significance of that? It suggests they've already lost a really strong individual. Does not spend time making plots to harm others. A lion does not lose sleep because of sheep's opinions. They are captivated with you because they feel helpless in your presence. You do not follow their directions. You don't seek for permission to put people at ease. This does not make you shrink. You're a threat to life. They need authorization. They must be favored. They must feel comforted. How about you? You don't need anything. You are strong because of who you are. You don't pursue. You're not begging. You do not offer any reason. They are scared just because you exist. The wind cannot be stopped, no matter how hard they try. You are constructed like a mountain. Therefore, they tried to break you. They didn't understand you were the storm. They simply wanted to see you fall apart. Now that nothing they do is working, they're afraid. When they launch their most brutal attacks on you, you must not back down. They attempt to get you to play their games, but you decline. You looked beyond their attempts to draw you into the muck. They are awed by the calm peace and quiet strength flowing from you. They don't comprehend how you walk so confidently or how you persevere when everything should have broken you. They don't understand how you can remain strong in the face of misfortune. However, they were never your true issue. Simply being present reveals that anything based on falsehoods is defective and erroneous. They are afraid of you because of this. Watch as they bumble, overanalyze, and frantically attempt to figure you out. Nothing has to be done on your end. They want to pull you down by harming themselves. Envy is eating away at them. They're suffocating under their own anxieties. They were always in danger, not you. Because you were selected, the universe aligns itself to protect you, move for you, and remove everything that no longer serves your purpose. Furthermore, they never came across your way. They are fading as a consequence of this. As a consequence, their assaults are ineffectual. As a consequence, People experience bigger losses. The more they try, you are the hurricane. But they wanted to be the hurricane that annihilated you. You were never intended to be tamed. Nonetheless, they believed they could control you. They didn't understand you were unbreakable. They thought you'd break. You do not need to fight them because of this. You do not have to prove anything. You don't need retribution. All you have to do is be yourself. Because the chosen one who understands their power is the most horrifying thing to them. Third, a snake will always reveal itself. Just wait for the hiss. You did not have to look for them to find out who was working against you. You have never had to sift through the darkness. They let themselves be seen. They had no choice. They initially pretended to be on your side, maintaining a calm demeanor and smiling at you. Energy, on the other hand, is always real, and a person's mask begins to slip when faced with something greater than themselves over which they have no control. And that is precisely what occurred. Your adversaries believed they could work in secret while slandering your reputation, that they were concealed, and that they could play both sides. The problem is that their own envy grew too much for them to bear. Their own shortcomings have caused them to bow beneath the weight of your rise. They were interested in analyzing, judging, and dissecting you from your history. However, they worried when you began winning and moved without looking back. They made themselves vulnerable in that terror. They began to falter, speaking a bit too loudly, holding little grudges, and showing their jealousy with fake grins. They were no longer hidden before they knew it. They seemed idiotic as they stood there in the open, completely exposed. The advantage of being picked is that you do not have to seek out competition. All you have to do is keep going. They will always show up. They start following your every move, keeping an eye on you, and talking about you more than their own lives. They fail to develop themselves because they are so determined to knock you down. People easily recognize the kind of person who spends their time trying to harm someone else via bitterness. What sort of person moves fast? Everyone will know who they really are. The ultimate irony is that they are just exposing themselves while feeling they are harming you. They depicted themselves as weak and resentful, despite their desire to make you the villain. Those in need, those overwhelmed by jealousy and unable to concentrate on their own journey. They did not only despise your success, they hated your fortitude, the way you stayed unconcerned while others drowned in their own shortcomings. And things became worse for them when they attempted to interfere with you. In fact, the universe will prevent them from defeating you. The traps they create for you will be precisely what kills them. They will suffocate under the poison of all falsehoods. They argue that they will never develop because of the energy they waste on you. How about you? There is nothing for you to do. It is not required for you to fight them. There is no need for argument. You do not need to reveal them. They will manage everything on their own because of their passion with you. They didn't take you seriously. They expected you'd join in their game. They predicted that you would become like them. They were unaware. However, the chosen ones do not play with peasants. The chosen ones do not play with snakes in the earth. Those who have been chosen do not waste time proving themselves to those who were never their equals in the first place. They're losing as a result. Knowing who you are and never surrendering your throne are the cornerstones of your strength. You're already 10 steps ahead of them, while they're concerned with envy, going around in circles and exhausting themselves. They can communicate. They may propagate disinformation. They can plan. It makes no difference. That's because you are ultimately untouchable, and they will just function as a lesson in your story. Fourth, the person in charge of your emotional well-being exercises power over you. They wanted you to shatter, explode, and plead because they win whenever you react. They feed on your energy, rage, and anguish. They hunger, but you refuse to feed them because you don't want to be influenced. They label you chilly because you do not fall for their gimmicks. They accuse you of being harsh. However, the idea that you are free frightens them. They wanted you to seek out, define, and show your worth. But you didn't. They're scrambling to find out how they lost control of you when you stepped back and withdrew. The most deadly weapon you can wield is emotional detachment. Not because you don't feel anything, but because you don't allow emotions to affect your decisions and keep you stuck. They exploited your emotions to get a response, guilt you into remaining and becoming caught up in their web of chaos. But the links broke the minute you stopped reacting. Another useless instrument is a stringless puppet. They didn't think you would outgrow them. They never imagined you'd have the strength to go. You witnessed them crumble beneath the weight of their own games, unaffected and untouchable. The most dangerous person on earth is someone who cannot be controlled, and you've changed into just that. They aim to cut you with words like blades, but you've learned the art of quiet, so you won't. They expected you to defend your decisions and provide an explanation to assuage their own anxieties. You owe them nothing, however. You become a danger the instant you stop seeking acceptance. They find it uncomfortable that you don't need their consent. They find it unpleasant that you don't respond when they make fun of you. They are outraged that you were untouched by their leaving. As a consequence, they continue to observe, wait, and hope for a response. Give them time to wait. Let them yell. Allow them to reflect on why their acts no longer have an impact on you. The fact is that they never had authority over you. You just weren't aware of it yet. They used commitment, love, and guilt to dominate you. However, its power faded as soon as you realized it. For what it was worth, I chose peace over disruption. And they're out now. They are left to their own devices, with no energy to consume. They feel weak without you, so they act out and try to attract your attention. Resignation is an expression of strength, not weakness. It is the power to declare that you pick yourself. It is the ultimate statement that you will not be influenced, accusing you of being self-centered. Bill said that you developed. Bill accused you of being a horrible guy. Permit them, since a selected person will never remain in environments that exhaust them. A selected person never proves their value. Unfazed, unstoppable, and impenetrable. The chosen one proceeds. You've already won because of this. Fifth, the sun will always be despised by a dim flame. You did not need to speak. There was never anything you needed to prove. They were kindled just by your presence, in your truth and power. They loathe you because of your beliefs, not your actions. Your confidence encourages others to reconsider their own misgivings. Your goal acts as a reminder of their loss. You are genuine. This demonstrates the masks that people wear on a daily basis, and they direct their rage at you rather than facing their inner emptiness or healing themselves. They dislike seeing someone who isn't frightened to walk in their own light. They have spent their whole lives acting as if they were content, strong, in command, etc. They can't take it when you seem too honest. It is not required for you to assault them. You do not need to compete. They are annihilated just by your presence and unflinching might. They whisper. This is why they are babbling. They attempt to defame, mislead, and mobilize people against you. Because of this, because you must be little for them, they want you to distrust yourself. They urge you to doubt your own value. The reality is, you're not fighting their internal war. For years, they've neglected their own reality, avoided their reflection, and created their identity on false premises. And now that I'm standing next to you, all of those flaws are obvious. As a consequence, they can only reflect their own animosity onto you. They do not comprehend confidence, therefore they call you arrogant. They don't understand discipline, so they call you fortunate. They don't understand what it means to be chosen, so they categorize you differently. Allow them to speak, but remember that no matter what others say, you remain true to yourself. They want you to contract and become more manageable so that they can deal with you more effectively. However, just because they are unable to withstand high temperatures does not mean you should reduce your fire. You bear no responsibility for their pain. They may turn away if your light blinds them. If you are overly enthusiastic, they may move away. However, you should never darken your skin to make someone feel more comfortable. The key is that they don't genuinely dislike you. They are jealous of you. They wish they had your courage, clarity, and perseverance in the face of their attempts to break you. They wish they didn't have to live for approval. They wish to move freely. Rather than learning from you, they want to destroy you. Allow them to succumb to their own jealousy, since it is simpler to destroy than to develop. Allow them to wallow in their own bitterness, for you will only improve while they spend their time and energy hating you. When a diamond glows, it makes no apology. A wildfire makes no apologies for destroying its surrounds. How about you? You make no apologies for wielding absolute authority. They will either emerge to greet you or blend into the background, where they belong. In any case, you continue to shine. Sixth, a shadow just indicates that light exists. It cannot obscure the sun. They believe they can stop you. It would just take their words, intrigues, and little games to defeat you. They never realized, however, that you were never in the same war as them. They live for fleeting pleasures like control over others, recognition, and approval. Something greater travels with you. You struggle for something that will last, while others try to be seen. This explains why their attacks were usually ineffective. As a consequence, you continued, despite the loud noises, since they never posed a significant danger. They were never utilized for anything but pleasure. Regardless matter how many opponents pass, your aim remains. A few weak individuals seeking to stop you will not bring your destiny down. The wind does not call for a mountain to crumble. They are only wind noise and background disturbance in a narrative that was never about them. And that is just what they are. They didn't comprehend the difference between a fight and a battle. They threw everything at you, expecting you would give up. Small disagreements were never your concern. You were intended for something much above their capabilities. They despise you for this, since you continue to oppose them. Because you are here, regardless of how much they assault. You're still getting up. You're still developing. They have no idea what it's like to move with purpose, to serve a higher force rather than for ego gratification or little games. This keeps them from recognizing you. They are drawn to you because they are ephemeral. But you never die. They were unaware that their enmity was pointless since they were spending time conspiring against you. They seem to be tired as a result. They seem resentful as a result. They exhaust themselves, even if they believe they are dragging you down. You were focused on something greater than yourself, while others were focused on you. You were going forward, while others were running in circles. You've never had to fight them because of this. You have never had to prove anything to them. As a consequence, they never really posed a problem. They were only as strong as you made them, and they vanished whenever you lost interest in them and returned your concentration to your goal. Those that attempt to undermine you are only guests to your story footnotes, which they will never comprehend. Your mission will continue even if they do not. They are afraid of you because of this. So you'll get through them because they know your name will be remembered long after they're forgotten. The sixth characteristic is that wolves attack instead of barking. They were looking for your words. They wanted your response because they had part of your strength. As long as they held your attention, however, they were anxious when you stopped talking. Silence is the most powerful weapon you can deploy because it compels individuals to confront themselves rather than exposing weakness. In truth, your competition are unprepared for this. They depend on confusion, noise, diversions, and getting you embroiled in meaningless fights. They wanted you to defend your existence, explain yourself, and counter their claims. However, by staying silent, you become untouchable. Silence confuses them. It irritates them. It causes them to mistrust everything. You stay unaffected while they spiral out of control, overthinking every action and drowning in their own paranoia. Why haven't they replied? Why aren't they protecting themselves? Why don't they react? They ask. Power. Is that an idiot quarrel? A monarch watches, and a selected person remains mute, allowing the cosmos to respond. They only harm themselves by flinging words like daggers. They set traps. But first, step into them. They make up tales to vent their own resentments. You keep silent the whole time. You don't need to, since your very presence will shake them. Your silence drowns out their pleadings. Have you ever witnessed someone break down when they don't get a reaction from you? How do their taunts become desperate? How do people begin to falter? Are they expressing their dread, skepticism, and jealousy? This is no coincidence. This is how quiet can be effective. They can't abide being ignored. They must know that they have approached you. They want evidence that their statements made an effect. They will, however, burn themselves to ashes if you do not flinch or fuel the flames. What's the greatest part? You did not have to do anything. When individuals don't speak out, they have to be vulnerable and reveal their genuine intentions. Someone who cannot tolerate your quiet is not supposed to be near you, because true strength does not ask for recognition. It doesn't pursue. It is not self-explanatory. A wildfire does not require permission to destroy everything in its path before flooding the shoreline. The tsunami does not apologize. Furthermore, A selected one never wastes time explaining their significance to others who do not understand it. Allow them to wonder. Allow them to inquire. Allow them to get engaged in their own soundscape. Emptiness. They see themselves die. In your calm, which is comparable to a mirror, you offered them nothing. They harmed themselves in order to provoke others. And there is emptiness. They expected rage, but instead received apathy. They were forgotten. However, they expected a struggle. And for an enemy, nothing is worse than discovering they were never important to you in the first place. Allow them to speak. Let them plan. Allow the weight of their own words to overwhelm them. Because you're moving while they're creating noise. You will always win because of this.